We are joined today by 32nd Assembly District candidate Holli Willibey. Holli, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, you are currently serving at the El Tejon School District. You recently won that seat. Can you talk to us about your motivation behind running for that seat and maybe how it also impacts how you're running for the Assembly District too?
Sure. I've always been into education. So even when I was working, I have a 15-plus year career in criminal justice. I ended up teaching criminal justice at the college level first before I started teaching college level psychology. So my true love is teaching little kids how to read. And so I took on a crusade probably about 25 years ago and found that there's pretty much a system in place where people are incentivized through funding to do the wrong thing oftentimes. And this is happening in our government. So I knew about that. And that impacted my decision to run. I got about 2/3 of the vote, only telling about 3 people that I was running. And so I thought that's pretty much telling me that people want me to, stand up and use my skill set to represent the community. And so, long story short, because it is a long story, I ended up deciding to go ahead and run for this seat because I want to use my skill set to benefit us all the way up to the top in the state of California. And there's corruption all the way through. And I'm not stating that every single person is corrupt, but I am stating that a lot are. And we need to take back our government by putting people in that have the skill set to kind of evaluate things from a broader perspective and do the right thing and make sure that everybody's rights are protected. So, a lot of times people's rights will abut and bump into each other. So I have the skill set to see how to manage that and to do so in a way that I think is going to benefit everyone.
And can you talk a little bit about what makes you so different from those other candidates that are in the race, particularly maybe from the lane that you're running from, which is maybe in a similar area to the Republican wing of the party, and I know that's where Stan Ellis is currently, and he has several endorsements in this race that put him as a front runner.
No, I don't think it puts him as a front runner. I think that the fact that I don't have endorsements from some of the people that I found to be corrupt is actually a badge of honor for me. And I think a lot of the people who have had experiences similar to mine in my community know what I'm talking about. And anyone who doesn't can take a look at the history of Kern County sheriffs and figure it out pretty quickly. And so when you take a look at who's endorsed, who's not, I used to vote in that way, and I thought that it was a mistake at some point. I thought, why am I going to, there's that little meme or whatever that goes around online. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if you vote for the same type of person, the same connected type of person, and you keep getting the same type of results, things get worse and worse and worse across the board, then I think that actually puts me as a front runner as opposed to the person that's endorsed.
But in the same respect too, that person's been endorsed by the previous office holder and the office holder before that. So what makes this change different? What would put you in front?
Because as I have had the experience with even Fong and Shannon Grove, I haven't been able to get a hold of them either with regards to my concerns. And if you watch Will Brown's video from KBAK, you can find out that he also mentions that he tried to get a hold of Shannon Grove and Fong, and he makes excuses for why they didn't get back to him. Maybe they're busy, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. That's our job. So what's going to make me different is I am by the people, for the people. I'm one of the people. I intend to bring the people into this seat with me, doing community committees. And so I don't have all of the answers of what we need to do, but I have the skill set to organize, to balance, and to figure out what we need to do. So my main focal point is going to be crime, bringing back the power to the people to allow people to file their own charges. And that includes not only for street crimes, but for people in government that are criminal. But there's going to have to be controls in that, et cetera. So this is where all of my history comes into play. I have direct history in criminal justice. I taught criminal justice at the college level. And what that will do is if we get something like that into place, it'll plug a lot of those holes, those base level holes, and allow us to attack more of the different issues at a better level, I guess. Because once you plug the crime hole, and you don't have people in office trying to skim off the top, maybe getting together with their friends and figuring out how to get certain contractors into government contract positions, et cetera, when there's supposed to be competitive bidding, and you have all of these problems. If you plug all of those problems, a lot of the things that we're seeing already are going to be subdued. And then that gives us the opportunity to subdue the rest.
What were some personal experiences that you may have had here in Kern County that said, you know what, this is why I need to run for this seat, that maybe relate to what you're talking about here?
Yeah, so I live next door to a criminal sex offender. And I've told this story a billion times, so if you've watched my other videos, I apologize that I need to tell it again. But if you haven't, this is an important reason for why I'm running. But basically, he raped a kid, went to prison for that, then got out, and apparently before I even moved into my house, was stalking the people across from me, okay? Attacked the man, left him with permanent injuries, punched the visitor in the face, knocked out 2 of her teeth, and then when I moved into my house, he started stalking me. Now you might ask, why was he left on parole, and his parole not revoked when he attacked my neighbor? And that would be the ultimate question, why? So when I started to ask why, and when I started to ask why the sheriffs were not taking this serious, when I had video evidence of what he's doing, up to and including shooting my chimney stack on video, he's a convicted felon, he's not supposed to have a weapon. They went over to ask him if he had one, and when he said no, they left it at that. They wouldn't allow me to exercise my rights as a private citizen to do a private person's arrest, which they're supposed to do. So when you start to ask why and you start to investigate, you find things. And in that time range, I uncovered a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, found out that the sheriffs have been under monitoring for a long time, that they have been already found to have engaged in misconduct, also civil rights violations, etc. So why is Fong, Shannon Grove, our AG, and our governor not interested then? So this is why I'm running, because we need someone with integrity, and we need someone with the skills and the backbone to take these people on, which I have.
And now switching over to what you have to, the challenges you may be facing in Sacramento for that same reason, is that working from the Republican side of the aisle, it's tough to work across the aisle and get Democrat votes, especially with supermajorities. It has been in Sacramento. We've seen that with the previous person who's had that position.
Okay, well, you saw it in the previous person. So the situation is this, okay? I bring a skill set that allows me to come in and manage with leadership style that is really unlike anybody else's. So I come in with a no-nonsense approach. Do I think that people are just going to welcome you with open arms and say, hey, you're here, and now we're going to do this wonderful crime bill because we're criminals and we want, to be exposed? No, they're not going to do that. But I still need to get in and I need to do that. And I still need to work the, system opportunities that will be available to make sure that it gets through. And there are a number of them. And I'm not going to, if you play poker, which I don't really do, but this is kind of like poker, you don't give all of your hand. You see what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, in 2 years, there's a governorship opening up. So I can figure out who's going to play nice and who is going to expose themselves for being someone that isn't trustworthy. I can let the people know, and then it'll be up to you who you want to vote in next time in different districts, etc. And then we can work together to get this place cleaned up, because it needs to be cleaned up. We're a government by the people, for the people, and we don't even have access to our government.
So when you say that you're not going to play your hand, is there anything that you'd like to talk about, what you'd like to do?
Well, I mean, I can tell you a bunch of things that I'd like to do. I just mean in terms of how to push things through, if that makes sense. But I gave you a little bit of the examples of how I'm going to do that. When you expose people and the regular citizens start to pay attention to this, they can basically make their decisions with their votes. But I also intend to run community committees, and anybody who wants to learn how to do this, sign up. Let's get this done.
Let's talk about that. Can you describe what a community committee is?
Well, it's something that has yet to take form, but basically I was a college instructor for a number of years, and I know how to teach and I know how to train people. So even when I was working in the field of criminal justice, I was training people in emergency response, security, all kinds of stuff. And so what you find is, if you learn how to organize people and you leverage the power of the people that are working with you, everything gets done, and it gets done extremely well because people are skilled and they know how to do it. So we have a government that's set up for us to do things, but we're not utilizing it. So this is why I'm like, I started talking to my neighbors and people in the community. I'm like, somebody needs to come in and run. And they're like, it's you. And I'm like, no, it is not. And they're like, yes, it is. So I realized it was at some point. So it's not a fast thing where people just go, yes, I want to do this. Some are saying, yes, I want to be on the community committees. Some are like, I'd just like to see and check it out. Well, come on, see and check it out. And then as we start to move forward and people start to give information about what they're experiencing, what they're struggling with, we can start to create bills that will address those things. And again, it'll give me information on different sets of people. How is what I'm going to do impact this person versus this person? So we can find that balancing act that's so important that's not even being considered. You know, we have a bunch of people. If my rights abut against your rights, whose rights win? Nobody's. We have to find a way to balance that. And I have the skills to do that. And I want to teach other people to participate in this and really kind of just restock our government with people that have the skills to do it.
One of the things when you look at this district, a lot of Republicans for some time have said, not really drawn up to, fairly stretches out a lot of geographical areas. How do you relate to those people that are going to be not only in Kern County, but also in Tulare County too?
Well, I told you, Fraser Park just had snow. I was out there shoveling yesterday to get out of my driveway. So, you know, I think I do relate to those people. I think we all understand what it's like to basically be just one of the people, you know, so to speak, and try to reach out for assistance and just be told, you know, get bent basically from the people that are taking our tax dollars and are supposed to be giving us services. So in Lebec, during the last, you know, little wind event non-wind event that we had, they turned off the power for a couple of days. And I believe they did that twice. So I had people that I know up in my area that just had power shutoffs. I'm like, it's not even windy. And they're like, I know. Like, what excuse are they giving to you? And they're like, the wind. And I'm like, so, you know, things are happening that shouldn't be happening. People can see that that's the case, but people don't know what to do about it. So when I get in, I'm going to do a lot of investigating, organize a lot of people that want to get involved, task them in a way where we have academic discussions to fact find, not regular arguments. If you want to come in and argue, don't bother. But if you want to do academic fact finding and help me figure out what to do, let's do this. And we can cover a whole bunch of things, from the power issues, the water issues, education issues, crime issues. Real estate is another thing. You know, why are we selling our land to China, allowing people to come over and purchase our properties and then re-rent them back to us at outstanding prices? You know, there's so many things that we have to look at. And I was actually thinking, how is one person going to take all this on? And that's when I remembered, I'm a teacher and I'm a trainer and I'm an organizer. I don't have to do it all by myself. Everybody in this community, from Tulare all the way down to Kern, has a story. Everybody has a reason why they want to get up and vote for someone like me. And I want to hear it, and I'm probably the only one who does. And so if you want the change, get involved, vote for me on February 25th, and let's get this done. I've got it. I've got it in me.
Well, Holli Willibey, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.